Hello, everyone. Welcome to Seeing Crime. I'm Zelda Kelly, and we are on episode 49. Now, this is going to be a little tense. I'm just going to say this. But before we get started, a couple of announcements. First of all, please subscribe, like. If you're new here to the channel, welcome. Everyone is welcome. We have a wonderful community here, and I just love everyone. And secondly, please subscribe, because we are going to have a giveaway. When I get to 7,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away both of these Kipper decks, brand new in the box. They're beautiful. I did pick at them to make sure that they're okay. We'll do that. And a grand prize is a reading, 2 questions with me. I'll email the link out to you within 48 hours of you winning and giving me your 2 questions, and I'm ready for that. So make sure you subscribe, and YouTube is not a part of the giveaway, so this is all my good stuff, and I want to thank True Oracle as well for that. Now, before we get started, this video is about Officer John O'Keefe. And yes, you know what? I'm going to start saying Officer John O'Keefe because, well, I just don't think that he has enough recognition. This beautiful young man, this is his tarot significator card, the Temperance. One of 3 cardinal virtues cards. I'll do a little video on the cardinal virtues so you understand what this is. But a very spiritual Sagittarius. Loyal, and just amazingly, this particular sign and card leads to law enforcement. So perfect for him. An enlightened angel that requires balance, passion, and power with her beautiful wings. Still on the long path. We're going to get there, Officer John. We're going to get there. So if we see this come up in the reading, we're going to know that there is a specific message. And we don't know. His energy may be here. So if I get a little tap on the shoulder or something like that, I'll definitely let you know. So we're going to put this to the side, and I'm going to introduce the cards. And just so you know, I have a little pointer here. Sometimes I forget to bring it out, and today I have not, so that's good. The cards we are going to be using today. We're laying a foundation with this beautiful Kipper deck. I know you all love those. The Mythic Tarot, what am I talking? Mythic Tarot. The Vintage Tarot, to confirm some things. I have a Cartomancy deck available, and then I have our Piotnik deck. We're going to find out. My question is today, what about the evidence for Officer John? What about the evidence? Now, this may make some of you upset, but I'm going to say it. And I think you're going to understand where I'm coming from. What evidence? What evidence? The majority of the evidence we have seen has been manipulated, contrived. I'm trying to think of the word, so I'm careful. Manufactured. There we go. That's a good one. And omitted. The evidence for not only Officer John, but Karen Reed, but this is for Officer John's evidence. His clothing, his, the tail-like pieces, well, that's for Karen. But there's just too much happening here. And it just makes me so uneasy, so let's get started. Putting all these to the side, we're clearing the decks and making way for the foundation to be laid with the Kipper. Now, if we need any more cards, my darlings, I have about 50 cards, 50 decks to the side of me. Look at this. Look at this. Number 16. Thoughts. That comes out. And I love it when that happens. Spirits, guides, and angels, we want some information about evidence. And I want to know if, which I'm not certain there will be, but if there is another trial in January, which, again, I'm not certain. And I don't know why March comes up, but it certainly does with me. And it may be that it needs to be rescheduled because of the appeal. Whatever the case may be, we want to know now about the evidence. Because the CW is having a lot of issues. I'm going to lay this out. Yeah, that's for sure. And can I show you this? Look at this. I always say this is for Officer John. Doesn't that look like him? It resembles him. Yes, Officer John. We see that you're here. It gives me the chills when that happens. Now, before I continue on, I just want to say this. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert witness, but I am an expert at reading the cards. What I'm having and what I'm doing is, well, basing my own opinion on what I see come out. This is for entertainment purposes, and you are more than welcome to form your own opinion. And if I could ask you to please do me one favor, please be careful of the wording that you use in the comments. Some of your comments that get really graphic have been held for review, or I cannot add them to the particular video. So if you see them missing, it's not me. So let's respect the algorithm of YouTube, and we can use Pig Latin if we need to, right? So let's get started. We're going to put these to the side. Thoughts. There's a lot of thought that has gone into this. And you see this fellow, this young man, has paint brushes and paper, maybe more paint brushes, maybe pencils, maybe books, maybe more than whatever it is that he needs. And he's thinking about what? Could this be the CW thinking about the evidence for Karen? Oh, I think so. I think so. And you know, I've said many times, this is the SOS theory. When you want to replace someone that has committed a crime with someone who hasn't, I call it the SOS theory. Swap our suspects. You swap one for the other. You take the situation and you back into it. So that's why they were in such a rush to charge Karen. That's why it seemed like it was just such a muck and a muddle because, well, you know, I don't have to even go through it. Poverty. This is a lack card. When you are in a state of poverty, you are in a state of lack. What are they lacking? What is the CW lacking? Well, what? Evidence. It's not that they're lacking the true evidence. They have it. They just don't want to bring it forward. Or they've covered it up. Or they have maybe even gotten rid of it, thrown it away. Look at this little fellow here. He looks like a chimney sweep, doesn't he? The Lovers. I have deemed this card for Karen Reed and Officer John. And no one will tell me that Jen McCabe was not jealous of her. She wanted to keep John in her little clutches, even right down to the very, very end, controlling. Now, let's lay out this vintage tarot. I want to ask about pardon me, the evidence, and it's come out already that there is a lack of. thoughts, what are they going to do? The majority of their expert witnesses have gone bye-bye. And at this point, Karen's team can actually bring more evidence forward, and they will. And they will. 9 of Wands. The 8 of Pentacles. 3 of Hearts. And the 9 of Cups. Right over here on Officer John. Putting these to the side. Now, we're asking this because we want to do a deep dive. And for a deep dive, we're going to see just exactly if we get some type of confirmation. And I bet we will. We always do, but I bet we will. We get this Queen of Swords a lot for this particular subject, for Karen and for John. The Devil. We know who that is. Also a Capricorn, by the way. Has nothing to do with being a devil. My darlings, look at what happened. Look at what happened. The Temperance Card. The Temperance Card. Officer John. Isn't that lovely? Gives me chills. So my darling friends, his energy is here. Rightfully so. And the Sun card right on top of him. I love it. Okay, we're going to put these to the side. Now, I'm going to pull these down and we're going to go over these. And you're hearing someone in the background meowing. I can't hear that well to figure out who it is, but it's one. Okay. Usually that happens when there's a lot of energy bursting from the cards, and there is. This is a card of choice. Now, this is amazing to me because this 9 of Wands is a fiery element, and it indicates that, look at this face, determination, but having a choice of what to bring forward and what to keep back. That definitely is the CW. As far as evidence is concerned, they sifted through evidence. They didn't want some of these questions to come out like, okay, I have a question. There were no injuries to the bottom half of John, Officer John. Nothing really to speak of on his legs, no broken skin, and yet there was a stain of some red stuff on the cuff, the bottom cuff of his right legs on his jeans. Why? Where did that come from? Was that tested? Was that DNA tested? And I'm going to tell you, I think that his whole entire outfit was washed. Clothing. Sorry. Clothing was washed. It looks like it. It doesn't look like that it was freshly dried. It looks like it was stained and then washed and the stain remained. That's one example, and that's one big question that I have. Because just of the gravity pull down the clothing. All right, I'm letting you think about it. This 8 of Pentacles, you see this little fellow here is sitting here working very hard and very diligent to make everything stack up and look the same. Who could that be? Is that also the CW and the minions there? Working to make everything look the same, to stack it up. Consistency is what this card is. And a broken heart. Absolutely. That goes without saying. What a sad situation. And this Three of Swords is also communication. And this communication can be piercing. What happened through those early morning hours and the decision to charge Karen Reed within minutes from Trooper Proctor. I'm going to say within minutes. It may have taken a few hours, but he made that decision within minutes to pin it on the girl. Heartbreaking. Now, this is the Yes card. The dream come true, the manifestation card. It is the Nine of Cups, which also mirrors in the cartomancy, the playing cards, the Nine of Hearts. Now, as I said, this is, and somebody told me this looked like Matt McCabe. Why am I laughing so hard? I've also heard John Travolta, but yeah, I'll take Matt. I'll take Matty. This, look at the proud accomplishment, sitting there, arms folded, as though it is a task completed. And he lines up all his little cups on the back shelf as though it's a trophy. But laying around some of these cards that are negative, this card takes on a different meaning. And that meaning is that there is games that have been played. And if you want to go back and watch my Enrique Delgado, I'm going to say Trooper Enrique's video, this came out for him as well. That game, that playing, the SOS method, switching out, swapping out suspects, backing into something. When you feel that the suspect was not going to plea, then you have to start backing up. That's Shaggy meowing, by the way. Maybe we'll just call it confirmation. All right, Swords. Queen of Swords, another communication card. She's sitting there holding her sword up in one hand and pouring this water out in the other. Sometimes this can be the truth, that it gets misconceived or misled. But with this sword up high, she's holding it upright. She wants justice. And she's going to work through things the way that it should be worked through. A definite queen and the ability to be able to see through things. And yet, knowing that there's not a balance and that she's got to make sure that even her own presence works things out. I love it. This Devil card. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's a little on the dark side. I'm going to try to hold it up. You know, some people are saying, oh, but Zelda, look, these little people here are frolicking. No, they're not frolicking. They're trying to flee. But they are chained. Now, in the normal, in fact, I have one here. Must have known that it was going to be coming out. See, this is the Devil card from the Universal Rider-Waite. And I'm going to point out some things here because this card is a little bit lighter and you can see it. This is a Baphomet, one of the 5, it seems like, of the council of Satan. This Baphomet has 2 people chained to not himself, but to what he sits on, so what he represents. What does that mean? It can be an addiction. It can mean an obsession. It can mean, will you become unchained? Is a lot of work. But it's called the devil because nobody really wants to get into this card. I have a deeper explanation. Sorry, everyone. It's been one of those days. It's been a full moon, a lunar eclipse, and a comet of the century is flying through the sky. So I'll blame it on that. So you can see this is a depiction of Adam and Eve, the fire, and this is just a lot. But I have that video available on Patreon if you want to go over and take a look at that. And you can sign up for free right now. So I wanted to show you that. But you see this devil card. Now, if you are a Capricorn, hello, you are not a devil. My son is a Capricorn. He is not a devil. I have good friends that are Capricorns. When you are a Capricorn, you do not like to be fooled. You do not like to be lied to, have any injustices. It literally can make you angry. You want people to be as trustworthy and truthful as a Capricornian. And when they don't see it, look out. And I love them for that. I'm the Pisces, and it's just kind of like, oh, well, tra-la-la. But no, you don't step on a Capricorn. So with this being said, this, I'm going to call him Baphomet. It's more of a Pan because he's got the lower half of an animal, and then he's playing the little flute and whatever else he's got going on. Don't worry. You've got more power in your little finger than the devil has in the entire universe. And that's why this card comes out, because this has become an obsession with the CW. It is an obsession, and it is definitely an addiction for all of those who are coming against this particular trial. Most people don't realize that if you're coming against Miss Karen Reed, you're coming against Officer John O'Keefe. Why? Because you're desecrating his trial for truth. They're so worried about putting Karen away and manipulating evidence and covering it up and SOS and all this other, that they have forgotten that they are doing Officer John O'Keefe a disservice. That should really make you mad. This Temperance card, beautiful. Look, pouring water between two chalices or two cups. There is a balance here that is needed, and let me pull out that card again for you. Do you see this breastplate that she has on her gown? This triangle. That means there needs to be a balance between spiritual, physical, and the could be relationship, it could be whatever the case may be, but you've got to have a Sagittarius needs complete balance. And for Officer John right now, unfortunately, that is not happening, but his energy is right here. This Sun card, isn't he a gorgeous dude? Playing his little harp. The Sun is a completion. It's the end of the road in a positive way. Do I believe the true evidence is going to come out for Officer John? Absolutely, absolutely. There's going to be more coming. Now, here come the cartomancy. And we know we're going to get a lot. And you know what? Go get a snack. It's time for that time. Get a snack. Get a drink. Take a breath. Pause it. If you have to go and run and do something, but come back. We'll wait on you. Okay, welcome. Thank you. Here we are. Now we're going to get down and deep dive, because I want to know about this evidence. 7 of Hearts. Queen of Spades. Who do you think that is? The 2 of Spades. And the 2 of Diamonds. We're going to be laying out 4 more rather. The 6 of Spades, the 2 of Hearts, the 6 of clubs, and the 10 of clubs. Amazing. Putting this to the side. This is Jen, Miss House Long, Hose Long. Give me a second. Okay. This card is a card of delays. The 6 of spades. It's a card of delays. It's a card of documents. It's a card of even being bored. It's a card of letters, official paperwork. And then this 7 of hearts is a card of fulfillment and determination. Well, so it looks as though they are determined, and it wouldn't surprise me if they have one more filing coming up. Now, they filed the last thing on this former trooper proctor, I'm going to say, to keep his phone records out forevermore. That would be a mess. That would just turn my stomach to even look at what he's doing. That's interesting. And then Jennifer shows up here as wanting to be in a relationship with the negative card surrounding her. This does not point out that she is in a healthy relationship with Maddie McCabe. It shows that she is living for a dream relationship. Well, isn't that interesting? We've got a parting here. This is a divorce card. It can actually be a separation, the end of a situation. It can be an interference from someone, somewhere, and somehow because of money worries. It could be because of a warning. But you know what else this card means? And in this situation, it doesn't surprise me. It means there is a need for caution going forward. You got it. You got it. This 2 of diamonds, you see this? This can be a partnership. It can mean also sharing responsibilities and working things out in a partnership. Well, who is the partnership? Well, I'm going to say it is a partnership of the McAlberts and all of them together. That is a partnership. They had to make a plan. And when they met that day, including Higgy Baby, and they met that day later on, January 29th, back at Uncle Brian's house, and they had that meeting. That meeting wasn't... Higgy Baby said, oh, well, we just had to discuss what was going on. And it ticked me off because what did he say? Well, it wasn't an investigation then. What? Right? Of course it was. Someone lost their life on the front lawn of another cop. So they had to get their story straight. That was, and remember, every time I've come up with this and we have diamonds, it's like a business. It's like they have their own little business that they have to hang on to, getting everyone on the same page, saying the same thing. Colin Albert, I think, had the absolute worst testimony of shrugging shoulders. I don't know. I don't remember. And gee, I bunged up my knuckles because I was holding a phone and I fell down on my What? Fell down on my knuckles. Boy, that turnip truck that I was riding around on the farm, I certainly didn't fall off and have it back over my head, right? Hello. This 10 of clubs here, it is a lump sum of money, but it is also a plan. It can also be a settlement. It's also a plan. It can be even an inheritance. And now that is pointing to something else that we're talking about, and that might be a GoFundMe for Paul, but that's another video. So that's getting interesting. Let's lay the Piotniks out. And then I'm going to give you what I feel is coming. A baby. We're going to talk about that in a minute. My darlings, we can't make this up. Do you see this? Right beside the pile that we have the Temperance Card, Officer John O'Keefe. I'm telling you. A gift. Lovely. Is that the gift that someone tried to give Trooper Proctor, but he said give it to his wife? That's evidence. Unfortunately, right on Officer John. We're going to lay out another row. A journey. Sure has been. A house. Oh my, oh my. A melody, a milady. Depends on how you pronounce that. Malady, milady, whatever the case, it means a situation that is sick, or it can mean a virus or a sickness, but it means that a situation that is also sick, that not in a healthy situation. Let me put it to you that way. Does that work out? Anger, absolutely. This whole thing was done by anger and jealousy. But, thank God for Kangaroo Crime that saw the waterfall, beautiful footage. And you know what's haunting to me? Officer John stand back by the bar. Karen's sitting there. She's got her back to everyone. And you're seeing these fellows over here peacocking and posturing and shoving around and trying to show off like they're in junior high. And there stands Officer John watching them. Would you like to know what's the last thoughts? I certainly would. Because those were close to the last thoughts that he had. Within, I would say, about an hour. My friends, this baby card and the journey, this will be a new beginning. I can tell you that coming. With them trying to hide, manipulate, manufacture, cover up all of this evidence, the true evidence now I'm talking about. And thank God we have I can't even talk. You see, I get excited. Crash daddies. Thank God they stepped up from ARCA. Because if it weren't for them, this case, my goodness, how many witnesses? 74 witnesses? 9 weeks? Do you know why they do that? I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you why Lolly, and it goes with my how to cover up a situation like this, the SOS theory. The reason why these people in authority drag these things out, it's not because they have wonderful evidence. It's not because they have everything. How long did we stand and sit and go through this? Well, where did you sit at the waterfall? Was it at a high top? Was it at a bar stool? When did you go to the restroom? When did you go? He didn't ask that. But I'm saying, what did you have for lunch and what cereal did your grandmother eat 15 days ago? That type of stuff, nonsensical, but you know why they do it. You know why Lolly did this. It is because they were not allowed to ask for testimony. And by overwhelming the jury with all these little nonsensical details, the probability of them forgetting important things is very high. And that's why it's done. When you want to swap our suspects, that is why it's done. They had nonsense. They had a nothing burger. That's why it's done. This has been a long journey, but it's a new beginning. We've come a long way with the Karen Read case, but there's new coming out. There is new evidence. There will be new evidence that will be coming out, and I can tell you that truthfully. The house and Officer John, I think these are self-explanatory. Melody and the gift. I'm going to tell you, I think this is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. When they start again, and Attorney Yannetti, oh my goodness, Attorney Yannetti and Attorney Alan Jackson presents their evidence again. You see what happens when I get excited, and I'm just really over a lot of this, so I don't use bad language. I wish I did, or this would be flooded with beeps. It would be, and Zelda said beep, 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 would be sounding like Morse code. Anyway, but here we come, and all of this is because of anger and jealousy, and my goodness. I want, what do I want? What do I want here? 2 more of these cards, and then I'm going to give you what I feel is coming. Oh my. Oh my, look at this 8 of Swords. This 8 of Swords, look at this. Yakety yak. Yakking. This is a representation of the CW wagging their tongues, filling everyone full of nonsense. This 8 of Swords. And here's an angel, steadfast, stoic, standing in the background and listening to all this stupidity. Can I say that? And this can be representation of all of us thinking we are trapped. And it can actually be Karen. We are all trapped with this ridiculousness of this tongue wagging and this carrying on. Remember, swords are communication. They're air elements. And from that card, a bunch of hot air. Here we are. The Fool. Oh, I love this card. Now listen, nobody is a fool. But what this means is that there's going to be the opportunity to start over, wipe the slate clean. That's what the Fool card is. Doesn't mean that you're going to be taking a big leap off of a cliff. It means that the Fool is the beginning. It's the first tarot card. It's why it's called a null, N-U-L-L. It is the first card in the deck. It means you're starting a brand new journey. And when you hit the number 10 in the tarot, well, guess what? You get to start a lesson all over again. And you go right back to the same situation where now you're starting a different pathway. That's exactly what this means. In the Rider-Waite deck, this Fool he's got a little, I'm going to say a pole with a pouch over his shoulder. And on that pouch is a picture of the phoenix rising from the ashes. Oh, yes, my darling. So in conclusion, this is what I'm getting. The CW will ask for more delays. As much as they're pushing to get this done and over with, they have long since realized that Karen will not plea. She's not going to plea. I would not. This is telling us a story that they have thought about what other evidence that they can come up with, and there is none. Remember, this Fool card is the first. It is the null. No, as in, have you ever heard someone say null and void? That's exactly what this card, it's just like a null is nothing, starting over from scratch. We have Officer John right here by the house. We may have evidence surface from that house. I mean, after all, we know the feds have the bulkhead and the doors and so forth from that. I'd be surprised to see what DNA they've been able to lift. And believe me, I'm going to tell you, for all you naysayers out there, I've been in paranormal homes that are over 100 years old, that there are still that type of stain in the floorboards that cannot be removed, no matter what you do. And you would just be surprised at where that stuff can just fly. If you know what I mean. I'm trying to be careful here. But I have another question. There was, aside from the clothing of Officer John, there were 2, maybe 3 liters of loss. You know what I'm talking about? Where is that? That's a lot. It wasn't in the lawn. It wasn't in the yard. Where is it? Where was it? Where did that happen? We know where it was. We know where it happened. I don't have to say it. So their little corporation, their little business scheme of getting on the same script is going to be falling apart, because we can now start counting on human nature. These cards here, all about human nature. And the ringleader, this one, Jennifer McCabe, will start collapsing. Everybody I can hear say, no, 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 she's too tough. Oh, no, no. Oh, no. The strain of guilt can happen at any time, and their little group will start collapsing. Mark my word. There is a need for caution for them, most definitely, because of this sickening situation. Look for more to come out before the 15th of October, is what I'm getting. Officer John knows that we are all here. We are all on his side. And I will guarantee you that he has never, ever, ever would ever want Karen to take the rap for this. So there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of evidence questions. And I believe that our buddies, the feds, have the answers to a lot. And we will be finding all of it. I mean, we're seeing people retire. We're seeing people walk away. We're seeing people under investigation. These are just the little beginnings. There's so much happening behind the scenes. So don't, my friends, don't get upset. Don't get weary, because all of this is going to come out and you're going to see it. But keep your heart and mind on the evidence and what the CW has done, because there is no evidence that they have presented that is true. A Sally Port video that's inverted. Tail light fragments that mystically appeared. There is no evidence in this case that has been brought forward by the CW. Now, you be careful and listen. There has been no evidence by the CW that has been brought forward that has been true. That will change. The game playing is changing. And yes, my friends, there will be justice for Officer John O'Keefe. Thank you so much for being here. Be watchmen, be careful, and get your video reading with me, because you're going to be amazed. And I lay out the cards just like this. Well, not like this, but I lay them out according to whatever questions you want answered. I'll leave that link in the description. If you want to hear more about things where we can really deep down and discuss, come on over to my Patreon, and I'm leaving a link in that as well. Thanks for being here, everyone. I know that the energy for Officer John is here with us today, and he knows what's happening. And don't worry, because he's got a big payoff coming. Thanks, everyone. Love you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This was a long one. My apologies. You know what happens when we get going. But hang in there, because you're going to see the truth start really coming out. And the true evidence will, even though it's trickling out, will come out. And they will be crushed. Thanks again, my darlings. I'll see you again soon. Bye.